So today we're going to start with reading the chanting that is familiar to you. We recite the Sīluddesa-pāṭha after the Patimokkha recitations, after the Uposatha. And I want to show you that we did regarding the Patimokkha recitations, the chants following after that. In May, we did a similar session on the Tayana Sutta, Chindasotam Karakamma. So if you are interested in the breakdown of that verse and the discussion, then it's in the May links. And I want to mention that there's also a word-by-word chanting that Venerable Nyanatejo prepared. This is very useful for anyone who is memorizing a chant, either for juniors, if you're beginning to learn the parittas and so on, or you're memorizing new chants. Venerable Nyanatejo has prepared this using AI tools. So the word breakdowns are generated with AI. They are, so, some of them are better than others, but it's at least it's very useful because he's done a lot of clicking work that you otherwise would have to do if you want to do this for self-study on yourself. So I do recommend, if you want to take a particular chant and use it for understanding the meaning while you're memorizing, just keep in mind that the translations and the particular breakdowns might keep in mind that this is coming from AI tools, not dictionaries. But today we're reading Sīluddesa-pāṭha, and the meaning of the title is that so Uddesa, so Sila is a morality regarding the precepts. Uddesa is chanting, and Pāṭha is a passage. So many times the chantings are some kind of Pāṭha. Like this is one of the types of categories of teachings. Like there are suttas, pāṭhas, there are verses, there are prose, and so Pāṭha is just a category of teaching text. Ajahn Tirapanyo, can I ask you to read the first sentence for us, please?
Vasitam idang tena bhagavata janata pasata arahata samma sambuddhena.
Can you recognize the word, please?
Vasitam is like speaking, and then Bhagavata is the blessed one, and Janata Pasata is like knows and sees, and then
so these are instrumental forms.
Bhagavata
Janata Pasata. So regard with tena. So Pasitam is the saying speech or spoken. Like something that has been said. Something said, and said this, idang, and you recognize tena.
Instrumental.
That's right. This is the instrumental, but the other forms, Bhagavata, Janata, Pasata, Arahata, and Samma Sambuddhena, these are all instrumental forms. So how would you translate them then?
So this was said by the Blessed One that knows and sees, the Arhat, the perfectly awakened one.
That's right. So these are all, they are all instrumentals because they are adjectives to Bhagavata. So by the Blessed One, and so who knows, who understands or sees, who is the enlightened one, by the by the perfectly enlightened Buddha, Sammasambuddhena. Then, Titato, can I ask you to read the next section, please?
Yes, Ajahn. Sampana Sila Bhikkhave Viharata Sampana Patimoka Sangvara Sanguta Viharata Achara Gochara Sampana Anumate Zuvache Zubaya Savi no Samadaya Sikata Sikapalesu.
Thank you. So there's a little difference here. This is from one of the suttas. The Vayadasavi here is a little bit different than from the chanting, but this is quoted from the Anguttara Nikaya, but you also find this passage in a number of other suttas, including Majjhima Nikaya 6. It's a very standard formula. What do you recognize from this?
What I recognize from this?
Bhikkhave. Okay, good. That's a start. So that's addressing the bhikkhus. Good. What's Viharata?
So Vihara from dwelling?
That's right. So from Viharati is dwells or lives or abides, and Viharata is the imperative form.
Imperative.
So it's an instruction.
That abide, or that abide restrained by the Patimokkha?
That's right. So the first, when we do the chanting, at the first section when we chant, we say that this was said by the Blessed One, and we repeat this quote that this is said by him. So it's an instruction by the Blessed One. You should dwell, you should abide. And how you should dwell and abide?
Restrained by the Patimokkha?
That's right. So key word in many of these phrases is the Sampanna. So Sampanna Sila, Sampanna Patimokkha, and Sampanna is from, you can get the meaning from that the root is pad to step. And to step is a gradual increase, like a gradual growing, a gradual increase, and then eventual accomplishment and fulfillment. Like something that has been matured or reached its accomplished state. And so Sampanna Sila is accomplished in virtue or mature in virtue because you should dwell. Sampanna Patimokkha, accomplished in the rules of conduct, accomplished in the Patimokkha, you should dwell. Patimokkha Sangvara Sangvuta. So you can recognize the compound here. Is that the code of conduct, the Patimokkha. Sangvara is the restraint itself, and Sangvuta is the past participle, restraint with the restraint of the monastic code, literally. So because Sangvuta is from Sangvarati, Sangvara is the restraint itself. So again, Viharata is that this is how you should dwell. We could put a semicolon here. Ajahn Gavisako, can you continue the sentence for us, please?
Achara Gochara Sampanna, so being like perfected, accomplished in what's called the Achara is the behavior, like the good behavior. From that you get the word Acharya, which is like one who can train in the kind of good behavior. It's from charati to go, to walk. And achara is like the behavior, the way one moves and so on. And gochara again is also from that same root. Gochara is literally the cow pasture. Go and chara. Go is the cow, the cattle, where they move, where they feed. So it's like the area of feeding. So often this is applied to like where the monks go to gain their nourishment, meaning like you go to the village and you go to the proper places, you don't go to the improper places, you know. So gochara is the sort of area for getting your sustenance. So knowing the right conduct and places to move. And then anumate suvajesu bhayadasavino. So anumata is like, anu is like the tiny little small, matta, anumata, even like the tiny measure. Matta is like the measure of something. So in a very small, vajja is the fault, imperfection. So vajjesu is a plural locative. So in the smallest faults. Vajjesu, bhayadasavino, seeing the danger. Bhaya can be fear, subjectively, like fear, or a danger, source of fear. And bhayadasavi would be one person who is seeing the danger. Bhayadasavino is the plural. So the people, the monks, should be seeing danger in the tiny faults. And then samadaya sikkhatha sikkapadesu. So sikkhatha again is the plural imperative. You know, it's a command. You should train, from sikkhati, to train. And sikkhatha, you should train. And then sikkapadesu, in the training rules. So that's a plural, again, plural locative. So in the training rules. And then samadaya means having undertaken them. Adhyati, to take, samadhyati, to undertake. Like when we say the sikkapadang samadhyami, you know, I undertake. So this is samadhaya, like having undertaken the training rules.
That's right, thank you. And the quote from the sutta ends here, but in the chanting we repeat the same section. First we say tasamati hamhehi sikitabam. So that regarding the above quote, we say therefore tasama, therefore, which is a ablative form. So from this. So because of this, therefore, this amhehi, tasamati hamhehi, amhehi is by us. So it's instrumental of aham. So it's like we remember that this is what has been said, and we determine that therefore in this we're going to train. Sikitabang, therefore in this is what should we train ourselves in.
Yeah, sikitabam is like a neuter. This is something to be trained in.
Something to be trained in, and in the first time we recited, the verb is in imperative, so viharata is the imperative form, because we remember that this is what was the instruction, this is what gave the say that you should dwell this way. And in the second time we recite it, then we change it to viharisama, which is we will dwell or abide. So we're determined in the second round, we determine that this is what we're going to do. And similarly, sikkata, first it's the instruction that this is how you should train, and then we determine that this is how we will train ourselves, sikkhisama. And in the end, we close it with evanyino sikkitabang, which is sandhi for evang he is the emphatic, indeed. For example, evang is thus. So thus indeed by us. No is the pronoun. Thus indeed by us this should be trained.
What's the definition of ablative?
Ablative means like from something.
Oh, from.
So in Pali, often these two, the dative and the ablative, have often the same form, like tassa. It can be of him or his, or it can be to him or for him.
Yes, you read that.
Yeah. Okay.
And the sutta
Also Greek.
in the Anguttara Nikaya, or same in the Majjhima Nikaya, it continues with, what is
Sorry,
this useful
I
for?
just made a mistake there. Sorry, ablative. You were asking about ablative. I defined the dative. This was what I was explaining with dative and genitive, that they are the same form. Ablative means from something. I think you have it there, the tasma, yeah? You said it was an ablative. So it means like from something. Ablative
Yes,
is from
that's
something.
right. So from this literally,
Yeah, from.
tasama.
Yeah.
From this, but in English you would say hence or therefore. But in the Pali, this is expressed with the ablative form, which, right? And so in the sutta it continues, why this training? How is this? What is the purpose of this? So akankeyachi bhikkhave bhikkhu sabrahmacharinam piyo chassang manapocha garucha bhavaniyo chati. So if akankeya is like someone should wish, if someone would have a desire, if someone che is if a bhikkhu should wish that my companions, the sabrahmacharinam, your fellow co-travelers in the holy life, they should like you. Piyo chasang. Chasa is you recognize cha, asa, where asa is the optative form would be. So I would be dear, I would be, this manapo is pleasant. The wish to be respected. Garu, bhavaniyo is like inspiring or esteemed, highly regarded. And if a bhikkhu should wish that, then what should he do? Then in the sila, silesu, in the morality, asa again is the optative form, so might or would be. So in the silas, he should fulfill them, paripura kari. He should make them complete. And internally, ajatang ceto sanghatang anuyutto. Ceto is the, you recognize, refers to the mind. Samatha is the peace, is peaceful. And anuyutta is dedicated, but literally meaning tied to. How would you anuyutta?
Yeah, connected to.
Yes, connected.
Yoga.
So you're dedicated to the peaceful. Internally, he should be dedicated to the peaceful mind. Anirakata is not neglecting. Meditation, not neglecting. And jhana here, you remember when we talked about the jhanas, then we mentioned that often this is just regular meditation, not the absorption. And here you can see that in that way of reading it is much better than specifying it as exactly the absorption states. That just not neglecting meditation, anira katajano, vipassanaya samanagato. He should be possessed of wisdom. Samanagata is someone who endowed with possessing insight and wisdom, and he should be someone who dwells in empty dwellings. Agara is a dwelling, and Sunyagaranang is empty dwelling. And so this is all. So this is if you wish that your fellow monastics would like you, then this is the instruction. And similarly, if you feel yourself, you wish good robes, you wish that your supporters and relatives who made offerings for you would benefit from those offerings, being content, being resistant to the environment, cold and heat, hunger, overcoming other difficulties, attaining the attainments, final ending of affluence, then this instruction is repeated. And, this is the starting with the fulfillment of the restraint in the Patimokkha as a grounding condition. And there's a simile that is related to this that I wanted to read. Venerable Aditya, can I ask you to read the first 2 lines, please?
Seyatapi bhikkhave ruko sakapalasa sampano pasa papatika pi paripuring gacchati tachopi paripuring gacchati pegupi paripuring gacchati saropi paripuring gacchati.
Aha, thank you. What do you recognize from this?
Not much, to be honest.
So, Seyatapi?
Without looking at the list, to be honest, I mean, somehow gacchati sounds like gacchami, but
Aha, so that's for going. Something that goes.
yeah.
So gacchati is something that goes. Seyatapi introduces a simile. So just like Seyatapi, Ruko is a tree.
Chojan is not part of the body. In the definition, tacho, nacho.
We'll get to Tacho. So the tree, Ruko, Saka, Palasa. So Sampanno is like a complete or accomplished, in this case, mature. Complete or mature. Saka, Palasa is the branches and leaves. So just like a tree that is mature in branches and leaves, complete with its branches and leaves. For it, tassa, for it, or of it. So papatika, let's see, that's the bark. Papatika is the bark. Its bark would go to fulfillment. So paripuri is, you remember from the Yatavarifala, paripuri, the oceans are getting filled with water. This is the same word that its bark would come to fulfillment, would come to maturity. The tacho is the outer bark. So in the tree doesn't have a skin. Its skin is the outer bark. Its skin would come to fulfillment. Pegu is the sapwood. So the inner fibers. The inner parts of the tree would come to fulfillment, and the saro is the hardwood, the tough, the inner core.
Yeah, also means essence of something,
Exactly.
but here it means the hardwood.
That's right. Saro usually refers to it's a metaphor for the essence of something, because that's the most useful part of a tree. Is the hardwood is that you use for all kinds of carpentry, and that's the part that you really want from the tree. And so the hardwood of the holy life connected to is related to like the hardwood of a tree. And so all the parts of the tree come to fulfillment. They go to completion because the branches and leaves are complete and mature. Like if the tree is missing its branches and leaves, then none of its other parts will develop, none of its other parts will grow. And it will not develop the essence, the hardwood. And so the simile is to that evam evam ko bhikkhave. Someone else read.
We have Chittaramo here. You can read.
Please, Venerable, can you please complete the line for us from evam evam?
Evam evam ko bhikkhave sīlavatto sīla sampannassa upanisa sampanno hoti samma samadhi.
Thank you. Do you recognize something from here?
Evam is just thus. I don't know why it's twice. But thus this way. Bhikkhu Sila, I guess, is the morality. Sampanna, complete morality.
But now the ending.
Upanasa.
Sila Sampannasa, you might recognize. So
Yeah, we had
for
it before.
this is it. What I was saying.
Instrumentative.
It can be either genitive or dative. So either of the monk endowed with sila, or for the monk endowed with sila. So in this case, it will be probably more the dative for the monk, who is endowed with sila, and who is silavato, is again for the one who has sila. Basically, is a more simple way to describe it. One who has sila. And then for him, Upanisa-sampanno hoti sama-samadhi.
What's Upanisa?
So Upanisa-sampanno hoti. So the subject then is the sama-samadhi, the right concentration.
What is the verb?
Hoti, it becomes Upanisa-sampanno, endowed with the condition, with the necessary. It's translated as necessary, prerequisite, precondition.
So you can think of it, upanisi is literally like sitting down. That what needs to be set down for this to happen. What needs to be near, what needs to be like a proxy.
Nisi, like in Nisi-data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you see how the sentence is constructed, like for the monk who is virtuous, sila sampannassa, for him, then the samadhi becomes hoti, endowed with a precondition, which means it'll have a strong condition for arising, and then it continues there. Yeah, it gets repeated for. If there is
so the subject of the sentence is sama-samadhi.
Yeah, exactly.
It's at the end.
Exactly. So that's how you have to read the Pāli sentence. You always have to look at the endings, and then you check. But what is the subject? And then you get the verb connected to that. So what you might think, the monk becomes endowed with something, but no, the subject is actually the sama-samadhi, which belongs to the monk, because the sila sampannassa means of the monk or for the monk.
Silavato, this refers to the monks. So, and that subject is not here. So someone who. Right, that's implied.
Okay, that's what I was missing.
Yeah.
Someone who is silavato and sila sampannassa. For him, the
samadhi is established.
Mm-hmm.
The precondition for samadhi is established.
Mm-hmm.
And you can think about this. Why is this? What happens in your mind when you know that you've done something that you're not particularly proud of? You made a mistake, or you know that you're not practicing what your teacher told you. You're doing something that is not worthy of a monk. Is something shameful. your mind is completely full with the hindrances, like you're full of desire, doubt, anxiety, your sense of shame. There's no possibility of any sort of samadhi there. And when you know that your conduct is impeccable, when you know that you have you fulfilled all the precepts, that is your training, then that's your mind is peaceful. You know that you've done whatever is required of you, and so that's why it's an unavoidable necessary condition for Samma Samadhi. So sometimes people complain that their meditation is terrible, and it's a useful thing to ask them, how's your precepts? How's your virtue? How do you live? What sort of things do you do? And often you find out that they actually know that they are not their behavior is not very good, and that's why they are filled with the anxiety that is blocking any kind of concentration. And then from Samma Samadhi, the sutta continues with that Samma Samadhi is an essential condition for knowing and seeing as things are. Yata Bhuta Jnanadassana. So Yata is like Yata Bhuta Jnanadassana. So knowledge and seeing as things are. And this is a necessary condition for Nibbida Viraga, because when you see things as they are, you see their anicca dukkha anatta nature, and so this is necessary condition for detachment and fading, and this is a necessary condition for Vimutti Jnanadassana, is the knowledge and seeing of liberation.
This is a transcendent dependent origination.
Yes, this is part of that sequence. What is described in one place is the transcendental dependent origination. Yeah, Upanishad. There's a Upanishad Sutta. It's called where there are many links. Yeah, interesting one.
Oh, that's what I see. There's a chart of this.
Ajahn Gavisako, do you want to continue with the Vinaya
Yes.
readings?
So this part is now, as we study the Vinaya, then it's good to familiarize ourselves with some of the Vinaya passages. They are, you notice, unlike the suttas, they are kind of there's a specific terminology, and also the sentences are more kind of condensed, compressed, and often there are many variations, only one word changes and another word changes, because they are going through the different possibilities what might happen. So in this case, I just selected one of those many permutations, as they are called. So this is in the chapter that describes how do we do some formal decisions, formal acts of the Sangha. And so in this case, it's the, for example, the Uposatha ordination. So that one would be an Nyati Chatutha Kamma. That means an act, a formal act. Kamma in the Vinaya always refers to formal act, which is a motion and 3 announcements. But here, Nyati Chatutha. So Nyati means a motion. It's like when we make we propose, these candidates want to be ordained, and then it'll be followed by 3 announcements. We repeat it 3 times. But it's called Nyati Chatutha Kamma because it's 3 announcements plus the motion as the 4th. Chatutha means the 4th, right? So the
Motion is the fourth.
Yeah, is the 4th. So for this kind of formal, in the case Nyati Chatutha Kamme, so in the case of this kind of formal action, say let's think of Uposatha. Yavatika bhikkhu kammapata. So again, if you memorize Patimokkha, it's there in the introductory part. So as far as Yavatika Bhikkhu Kammapata, as far as the monks who are eligible, Kammapata means those who are literally attained or achieved patta, but in this case it just means like being eligible. They are there, they are present, meaning they are not like suspended or Varajikas and so on. They are just like regular monks. So if they are eligible to take part in it, so as far as those bhikkhus are concerned, te agata honti. Te means they. Agata, they have come. Honti. They are arrived. Literally, they are arrived. They have come. Right. And then Chandarahanam, Chando ahato hoti. So Chandaraha means those literally who deserve. Araha is from the word arahant, arahati, means to those who deserve. But here it means those who need to have their chanda brought. So those who need to pass on their willingness to go along with this Sanghakamma. So for those who deserve the chanda is brought. Chando ahato hoti. Their willingness is brought. Ahato means brought. And then Sammukhi Bhuta Patiko Santi. So those Sammukhi Bhuta is from means those who are present. Sammukhi means literally mukha is the face, your face. So you are sammukha means you are with your face there. Literally with your face, sammukha. Yeah, you're like showing your face. Literally, they are all facing each other. So it means they are in the presence of one another. Sammukhi Bhuta. That means they have become present. So those who are present, patiko santi. So some of them object. Patiko santi means to object. So you say you don't agree with this monk to be ordained as a candidate, then you can object. And then that means Sanghakamma, which means it's a formal act that is done as a separate group, which means because the Sangha does not act as a unity in harmony, so Vagga means it's like a smaller group. Vagga means also a chapter when you read the suttas. It's a chapter. It's a part of the whole book. So it means it's not the entire book. So it's a small group. So it's a technical Vinaya term, meaning if say the certain group of monks in a monastery or in a sima, in a given sima, kind of breaks off and they do their own, say, formal decision separately from the other monks, then it's something illegal. So it becomes a Sanghakamma, and that one is so here it says idam vucchati bhikkhave Sanghakamma. This is called because a formal act that is done separately or not in unity. Yeah. Idam vucchati bhikkhave Sanghakamma. Formal act that is done not in unity.
It's still valid.
No, it's invalid, and you will see that's then later in other paragraphs. The Buddha says that kind of Sanghakamma is invalid, and it can be overturned because it was done illegally.
Wow.
Yeah? So you cannot make decisions in that way. If somebody disagrees, basically, then that kind of decision would not be valid. And then it continues with the second alternative, which is the same basically. Again, in the case of this formal act, those monks who are eligible are there. They have arrived. They are agata honti. For those who needed to send their willingness, chanda, they have sent it. But those who are present, Sammukhi Bhuta, napatiko santi, they do not object.
Oh, I see.
So there is nobody in the assembled monks who object, and then that means it becomes a Sanghakamma. So it becomes a formal act that is done in unity. They act in unity. You know the word samagi? Samagi is often translated as harmony. That's kind of the more colloquial meaning, and that just means in general terms. But in terms of Vinaya, it always means like if the Sangha decides in unity as a group without breaking into factions, right? So this bhikkhus is called a formal act that is done in unity, and that kind of act fulfills all the necessary requirements. Yeah? All the bhikkhus are there in the Sima, they have arrived, and then in the introduction to the Patimokkha it mentions the Hatapasa also. They are all in Hatapasa. Nobody has left that distance of the hand, out of hand's reach. Then everybody send their chanda. If somebody is sick, cannot come, then they have sent their chanda, and all those who are present do not object. So then the ordination would be valid in that case, right? Okay.
Would you perhaps also talk about what happens if one of the monks is a Parajika in the assembly?
Yes, so that will be the subject of our Vinaya lesson tomorrow. I have some nice illustrations for that. So that exactly would be the factor of that's the more specific than factor. If all the who are present, what does it mean to be present? And then more technically would be outside of Hatapasa. So all those who are present is later in the commentaries, they make it more specific that they should be within Hatapasa. And then it's a question of how they are sitting. So even if the Upajjhaya is sitting in such a position that all the other monks are close enough to be within Hatapasa, then it would be just a minor imperfection of the Sanghakamma. So even if the Upajjhaya...
You sent us this kind of diagram, is that you have the Sima, and the monks are sitting. I'll try to replicate the idea that the monks are sitting in various kind of arrangements, like the one group of monks, another group of monks, and the candidate is in the middle, and the Upajjhaya is sitting at the top, right?
That's it.
And in this case, if the Upajjhaya is a Parajika, then these two groups are not in Hatapasa.
Yes. Unless, so they recommend having like maybe 2-3 months going around the Upajjhaya, or
if you have
close on the other side.
If some of the monks come around and they sit between the two other groups while the final motion and announcement is happening, then even if the Upajjhaya is happens to be Parajika, or there's other problems with him, then the Sanghakamma would still not be invalidated.
Exactly. So that's it's good to know, just in terms of the arrangements of seating, because the other monks, they are sitting so close together that like from one you can maybe reach to 3 other monks, right? So there's always some kind of connection, even if some of the other monks were Parajika. Also, that's the case why, although there's like a minimum required for an Upasampada outside of the Ganges Valley in India, only 5 bhikkhus, but usually they always want to have more, at least like 10 or as many as you can, because then you minimize the possibility that there will be not enough, like the quorum won't be reached.
Yes, and you might find out later, right? And you could maybe have you find out that one of the monks in the assembly was somehow Parajika, or some other problems was you find out about him, and then you start wondering, does that mean that they were not all in Hatapasa? That somewhere the Hatapasa was broken and my ordination is then invalid, and that's yada yada yada. It's terrible.
Exactly. So they generally know about this, and it's a matter of course, it happens from time to time that somebody is discovered to have been a Parajika monk, not a real monk. So then this is like a way to avoid doubts. Okay, and now we have another Sanghakamma. So the Uposatha-kamma. So Uposatha-kamma is one of the Sanghakammas. The recitation of the Patimokkha is a formal act of the Sangha.
Can I just ask a question
Mhm.
before?
Yeah.
The Nati Chatute,
Yeah.
What other Sanghakamma is like this? The 3 announcement and one motion?
There are some, you can see in the Vinaya, there are certain appointments of, I think, was it the, there are certain like censure, like the act of banishment, act of censure. I think they are done in this way, which is something, is the most important. Basically, they are the most important formal acts, and the establishing of Sīma. Exactly. So they are repeated 3 times. You make first the motion, that's the nyati. You say, we are going to do this, and then you say 3 times, okay, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this.
Make it clear.
Yeah. Otherwise, the other Sanghakammas are nyati dutiya kamma, which means, yeah, you just make one
motion, one announcement.
One motion, one announcement. Yeah. So when I was going through the Vinaya text, there were so many permutation in this chapter. You just have to, they go through all the possibilities. Like if one of these conditions is not fulfilled, for example, somebody who is sick is in the Sīma, but they did not send their chanda, their willingness.
You need to pick them.
Then again, it becomes a Sanghakamma, which means the Sangha will be separated. The one person will be not there. So then again, it's invalid. Or there's all these different variations. Okay, now Uposatha and traveling monks. So, yeah, let's see, what do we have there? Ajahn Titapanya, can you maybe read the first sentence?
You're muted, Ajahn.
Oops. Idapana bhikkhave anyata rasming awase tadhuposate sambahula avisika bhikkhu sanipatanti chataro wa atireka wa.
Okay, so can you recognize something?
Well, the beginning is something like, "Hear, O bhikkhus," and recognize.
Then it says where it happens. So anyatarasmin avase. So avase, you recognize that word? Avasa?
It's like a dwelling or something.
That's the standard word for monastery. So
Monastery.
avasa, like a monastery dwelling. Sometimes called arama also. That was like the park, but avasa is more commonly called monastery. Anyatara is a certain a certain monastery, a locative.
Mm-hmm.
And tadahuposathe. So it means like tat aho is the day, that day being the uposatha.
Oh, okay.
So that day being the uposatha, and then sambahula.
There are many.
Yes, many avasika bhikkhu. So in the avasa, there are the avasika bhikkhus. So they are the resident monks.
Oh, okay.
So the resident monk. So that's the origin of the word, the Thai word, the bhikkhu chao avat. Does not necessarily mean abbot, but it means the resident monk, the one who is like permanently living there. Avasika bhikkhu, and they are gathering. Yeah, sanipatanti. Sanipatanti literally against is derived from like nipatati means to like fall together. Patati is to fall. Sa together, so like gathered together. And how many?
4.
Yes, 4 or more. Atireka means more than that. Chattaro va atireka va. So we know for the Uposatha you need to have 4 bhikkhus at least, and then but what happens then? Te jananti, they know, they understand, they know. Atti anye, this means atti anye avasika bhikkhu anagatati. So there are others. Anye means others. Atti, there is, there exists. So there is the fact that other resident bhikkhus, anagata, the resident bhikkhus have not arrived. Yeah. Agata is arrived, anagata means not arrived. Or it also means the future, like the time that has not arrived is anagata. So the four bhikkhus are there, but they know that in this monastery, maybe it's a large monastery, there is more than four of us, definitely. Say there is 7, 8 of us, and they know that the other 2 or 3 monks have not come to the place where the Patimokkha is supposed to be held. So then, maybe you can read.
Te, forward.
Yeah.
Te dhamma sannino, vinaya sannino, vaga sannino, upasatam karonti, patimokkam uttisanti.
Okay.
Sannino.
So it's in the notes. The note somewhere. Then this is again the meaning of the sanya. Yeah. So sanya, perceiving something as dhamma. So in the Vinaya, always some rules, some offenses and so on. It depends on whether you actually clearly understand what happens or you don't know. So in this case, they know what is the Dhamma, which means they understand what is like the proper. In this case, it doesn't always refer to Dhamma like Dhamma teachings, but more like what is the rule. What is the rule and what is the discipline? They know, they are aware of it. Because there could be another case where they actually are in some kind of misunderstanding of the Vinaya rule. But in this case, they know it. And they are Vagga, which means they are divided. They are divided into these more than one group. So they are not all together united. And they are also Vagga Sanyino. So they are, in fact, they are divided because the other 3 bhikkhus are somewhere else in the monastery, and they are also aware of the fact, Vagga Sanyino. So they are also perceiving or aware of being divided. And then Uposatha karonti, they do the Uposatha. They go ahead and they do the Patimokkha in that divided state. They don't care about the other 3 monks. Patimokkam udisanti, they recite the Patimokkha. Yeah, Uddisati means to recite, to chant. So they recite the Patimokkha. It's equivalent. Uposatha karonti means you do the Uposatha-kamma, meaning you do the what is supposed to be done, and that means if there are more than 4, then 4 or more, then means reciting the Patimokkha, right? And then who else is there? Kemadasi, can you read this? Tehi.
Tehi uttisamane patimokke atanye avasika bhikkhu agachanti bahutara.
Okay. You understand anything of this? Any word?
You have bhikkhave, bhikkhuhi, so
No bhikkhuni.
bhikkhuhi.
Okay, it's a bit difficult. So this one, it says, Tehi udisamane patimokke. This means while the Patimokkha is being recited by them. So Patimokke is a locative case. It means like while something is happening. So while the Patimokkha is uddisamana. Uddisati means to recite. Uddisamana is something that is going on. The mana always makes it into like something that is happening now. So while the Patimokkha is being recited by them, Tehi. So Te means they, and Tehi is instrumental, meaning by them. While the Patimokkha is being recited by them, Ati Anya. Then Atha Anya. In this case is then other bhikkhus, other resident bhikkhus, which means resident. They live there. They belong to that monastery or to that sima. Other resident bhikkhus agachanti. They arrive, and they are bahutara. It means bahu is a lot. Bahutara means more than that. which means more than the number. The number is actually more than the monks who started the recitation. Yeah?
So essentially a new Sangha arrives, like another more than group of 4, who could be again a different group.
Exactly. So there were actually many permutations in this chapter, and sometimes it depended on how many arrive. So if it's just like 1 or 2, and the reciters there are already 4 of them, then it's one decision is made. Then if they are the same number, something else can happen, and if there are more, then something else must happen. So in this case, tehi bhikkave bhikkhuhi punna patimukkham udisitabam. So tehi bhikkhuhi means by those bhikkhus. Tehi bhikkave. Bhikkave means again bhikkhus. This I'm addressing the bhikkhus. By those bhikkhus, tehi bhikkhuhi. It's instrumental. Tehi and bhikkhuhi. By those bhikkhus. Punna, again, Patimukham udisitabam. The Patimukha should be recited. Right? Again, Puna means again. The Patimukha is to be recited. So you have to start. You have to start again, which means that's the worst alternative.
But you could have a different chanting.
And then Uddesakanang apati dukatasa. So Uddesakanang, for the reciters, Udisati means to recite. So Uddesaka is one who recites. In an other context, it means like the Bhatu Desaka, the one who is distributing meals and so on. But in this case, it just means the reciter. Apati dukatasa. So for the reciters,
this is a plural form, right? And so it's
exactly.
not just the one who is reciting the chanting, but all of them who perform the Patimokha while knowing that others will arrive.
Although Patimokha is recited by one, but here it refers to that whole group who were part of who started it. So they, apati dukatasa is an offense of dukata. So you get the dukata offense in that case for not waiting for the others. Right? Offense of wrongdoing. And it's interesting, if you go through that chapter, so if those who started chanting and then only like 1 or 2 arrive, then it says what is recited up to that point is well recited, and the rest of the Patimukha should be heard or something like that. So it means the others can just join. So that's the case of like you wander into an already Patimokha that's already going on. But if the number of the newcomers is only 1 or 2, and so you're actually not going to interrupt them, you could just join basically, and they don't have to repeat what they already recited. But also, if the numbers are the same, then I think it's the same again. It's if there are 4 reciting already and another 4 arrive, then I think it's exactly the same. I think they don't have to start from scratch. They just have to join and but the new arrivals, that's it. The new arrivals should listen to the rest, but then they should also declare their parisuddhi. They should declare their purity. And only you have to go through all the permutations. Basically, this is the reason why normally they say don't travel on the Uposatha, because this could happen. You don't know. You don't know where you are going to arrive. Maybe you arrive exactly while they are reciting their Patimokha, and then they will have to start again. So they will not welcome you very well. And this is exactly the next sentence here. So maybe Tidapemo, you can read this.
Gantabo bhikkhave tada uposate sabikuka awasa tabikuko awaso yatasu bhikkhu sammasambhasaka yam janya sakomi ajewa gantunti. What to recognize? Basically, avasa. I don't know. No. Vabbè, clear bhikkhave and uposate. But tada, I don't know what does it mean.
We had it above. Tada Uposatha means that day being the Uposatha.
on the day of the Uposatha, basically.
Yes.
And Sabikuka, because I read before, I read above with monks.
So
And
yeah, so
Avasa Om.
so it's the monastery with
Yes.
bhikkhus. So it's a
Exactly.
monastery that has bhikkhus, right? Sabikuka avasa, but it means avasa. It means in this case it's the ablative case from the monastery.
From
So avasa, and then here's avasa. So from a monastery with monks, and then to the so the you have to understand like this. So this gantabo in the beginning is related to avaso at the end. So sabhikuko avaso means a monastery with monks should be walked to or should be gone to. Gantaba means from gachati, to go somewhere, and gantaba means to go somewhere. Should in English we don't even have the word for it. Should be gone to. Should be gone. Which means you can go to a monastery with bhikkhus from a monastery with bhikkhus, sabhikuka avasa, on a Uposatha day. Okay. Yathasu bhikkhu samana sangvasaka is yatha asu, where there might be, yatha, where asu, there might be, bhikkhus who are of the same communion. Samana sangvasa is where there might be monks of the same communion, which means we can do Bhatimokkha together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And young Janya is where one knows, where one would know, where one could.
From Janati.
Yes, from Janati, where one would know. Sakkomi ajyeva pantinti. Sakkomi is I am able to. Ajyeva means ajya eva, today, just today. I am able today. Gantum is from gachati, the infinitive. I am able to go today. So it means I'm able to arrive there today. Okay. So the meaning is, so again, there were many permutations. For example, it's not allowed to say if you have a monastery where there are bhikkhus, so sabhikuka avasa, so you are in a monastery with bhikkhus, and there it could be, say, 4 of you, so you have to do Patimokkha. And I'm too lazy to listen to the Patimokkha. So I will go to that empty monastery, which is somewhere else, a bit further away. And I go this morning, so I don't have to listen to the Patimokkha, and the other 3 bhikkhus, they will just do the short parisuddhi, and so out of laziness. So that's actually not allowed. That's a dukkata offense to do that. And so in this case, so he was going from a monastery with bhikkhus to another monastery with bhikkhus. If you know, okay, so we know about each other, say we can go from Chidhurst to Amaravati, sometimes we do that. We leave on the Uposatha day in the morning, and we arrive in Amaravati because we know, okay, with these bhikkhus we can do the Uposatha together. They are samana sangvasaka, which means having the same communion, being in the same, which means we can live together and we can chant Bhatimokkha together. If we know that we can get there today, so we know there is no traffic jam, we assume that we can get there by car or by walking, then that's allowed. So you can go to another monastery for Bhatimokkha in that case. Okay.
But then they still have to wait for you, otherwise you're going to arrive in the recitation late, no?
Exactly. So there are these cases that's part of the other permutations in that chapter. So if those monks know, there are these other monks from another monastery that are of the same sangvasa and they are coming here, then they should wait. They should wait for you. And so in those days, of course, there were no phones. So they must have been living fairly close, and probably sent like a messenger beforehand to let them know. And they would have had to walk, so it was fairly close by. But there are various rules, in that chapter about like also having an established within each Sima area monastery zone, there should be an agreed building where you meet. So it doesn't happen that in a large Sima, half of the monks are gathering in the one Uposatha hall, and somebody else is gathering in the sala on the other side, and they don't know about each other. And there are various things, how they would agree. Where do we meet? Who arrives first? What should we do? Yeah, so it's interesting to read and know about these rules.
Yes, and in fact, I think, well, in many cases they wouldn't know that you're coming, because the lack of communication. Then you're allowed to go to another monastery in the same samvasa, but they are not aware that you're coming, and they might have performed the Uposatha already.
Yes. Yeah, it could happen. So that was one of the permutations. So where you come, so then in that case, even if they are there was a case I think described where they have already recited their Patimokkha, and half of the bhikkhus have already got up and left. So what should you do? And I think the ruling there is that you should just do your parisuddhi. You declare your purity in the presence of some of those who are remaining sitting there.
That's right. So they don't have to repeat their Uposatha just because you have arrived late. But you should declare parisuddhi.
Exactly. So that's what you do. We were traveling in Thailand with Dhammayut Mang, and we arrived at a monastery because we were just we had not much options, so we had to travel on Uposatha, and they just finished their Patimokkha, and he just said, asked 4 of them to come, which means four bhikkhus together means it's a complete sangha in that case. So we took just 4 of them aside, and then we declared our parisuddhi, our purity. I think there were 3 of us, and in front of them, and that was it.
No, that's good to revisit the protocols.
Yeah, we'll be talking tomorrow in our Vinaya class, and